Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'll be showing you how to get to orbit. It's actually very simple. All you have to do is press Alt F12, cheats, and set orbit, and then just set orbit. Don't worry, that was a joke. I'm actually going to be showing you how to actually get to orbit. What you're going to do is you're going to have your rocket spawn on the launch pad, like this, and you're going to want your thrust to weight ratio to be higher than 1. There's really no way to tell. You just have to assume, I guess. Anyways, you press Z or press Shift to throttle the thing up like this. And you want it at 100 unless you want it a little bit lower depending on how powerful your rocket is. And then you'll press the space bar and launch your rocket. And this rocket will just fly. And what we're going to do is a gravity turn where we're going to turn east like this on the nav ball to 45 degrees below 10 kilometers. And we're going to start that gravity turn around 1,500 kilometers up, which will be around the good time to start a gravity turn for this rocket. So like right here, we're going to start our gravity turn by turning just a little bit to the eastward direction by pressing D on the WAS and D keys, and we're going to get about halfway through. And we're just going to sort of coast in that direction, making sure we're always in line. And we're going to wait till this thing gets up to about 6 kilometers up. And then we're going to start another gravity turn, working our way up to 45 degrees eastward on the nav ball. So like right here. And we want to get there just before, like as close as possible to the 10 kilometer mark. So you can see we're at 800, getting to 900, 900. Now we just want to get there, adjust our inclination just a little bit. And there, now we can kind of just coast here a little bit for a while, and as you can see on our apoapsis is 20 kilometers up. We want it to be 43 kilometers up before we start and turn in between the 45 degree mark and the 90 degree mark eastward on the nav ball. So 26, and we're just going to kind of just coast around, slowly moving. Soon we're actually going to start hitting some tremendous speeds. So I'm going to start the gravity turn now, since we're just about there. And now we have aerodynamic forces acting upon us, which is when you want to start your gravity turn again. Because that's around a good signal that it's happening. And you just want to get to about here. And the goal is to get your rocket up to above 70 kilometers. But that's like out of the atmosphere. But we want it to be a little bit higher since we're going to slow down over time. So I'm going to cut it off. You can cut it off at 80 kilometers, but I'm going to cut it at about 100. So like about there. And we're going to slowly decrease in speed. And as you can see, this booster is pretty much out of fuel. We're going to deploy the next engine, activate the RCS thrusters, and we're going to set a maneuver node. So as you can see right on our apoapsis, we're just going to sort of click on that area. And on that, we're just going to pull the prograde marker out. And this will just set like a maneuver node, and then you can, like, if you go a little bit too far, you can press it against this, and that'll make the things go backwards. And this just helps you know, like, how long you have to burn for. So at about that point, we're going to stop, and that should be 90 and 101, which is pretty good. So I think that's good enough to be circular. And then what you want to do is you're going to click on this maneuver button right here, and it will allow your rocket to face in the direction of the maneuver node, and it will allow the rocket to work a little bit better. And once you get out of the atmosphere at 70 kilometers, you can deploy whatever fairings you had, and what other pieces you had on the rocket. So I just deployed the nose cone and the fairings for this Dragon capsule that I'm using for the flight. And we'll just sort of coast along until we can get ready for our burn. So we're going to get ready to activate the engine. Just check to make sure the engine works. Alright. And then you can just kind of warp towards your maneuver node by clicking on the line that you're on, and then just click on it and then press warp to here. So say warp here, and then boom, you just warp. So we're going to fire up the engines, and you're just going to want to burn on your maneuver node, which just by clicking this. And we're going to want to burn like this, so we'll just go further, and slowly this will circularize our orbit. So we're going to drop in altitude in just a second because we're about to hit apoapsis. And we drop in altitude, but this is going to get into a circular orbit, so no need to worry too much. So you kind of do want to pass it. So as you can see, the lines are working their way over. Kind of throttle up the engine if you'd like, just to make it work a little bit faster. And we are going to cut off the engines once we're about 50 meters per second left of the burn. So we're just going to go on a little bit further as it just slowly goes, and then we're going to cut off the engines. Then you can press V if you want a free cam, which just looks a little bit nicer than the orbital cam, which I don't seem to like that much. And we can just like low throttle, and then we can burn like this. And then we'll shut off the engines once we get low. Shut off the engines, and we are in a circular orbit, just like that. And then if you want to get even higher in orbit, I recommend getting to a low orbit. And then you can add a maneuver at periapsis. And then you can burn to a certain height. And then at that height, you add another maneuver and burn prograde. And then you'll circularize the orbit like that. And that's just a way to get into orbit at a higher point. Now, the easiest way to get to the Mun, I just eyeball it. So you see we have the Mun right here. We'll come in. We want it to be at a 45-degree angle from the Mun and above. So we're just going to sort of adjust it. And then you can adjust it a little bit more. So by getting to it, and then you'll just like move. And then there, we have a Mun encounter. So then we click on the Mun. And then you can see our periapsis is way out here. So about here, just anywhere beyond, you can add a maneuver node. And then just burn forward until you get like 15 kilometers out from the Mun. Just sort of like that. I'm going to lower this as well to like an equatorial orbit. And you just mess around with the maneuver nodes a little bit. They're about 17 kilometers, and then at periapsis we're just going to add another maneuver node. Or you don't even have to add a maneuver node, you just burn retrograde until you get into a circular orbit. And that is how they get to the Mun, which this capsule actually can do, and if you want me to do it, I will. So you can just write in the comment section that you'd like me to do that as like a mission, and I will actually gladly do that, because I find getting to the Mun actually easy and fun to do. I actually kind of enjoy it, and this capsule can just barely get a Mun orbit. Just barely. But yeah, now that we're in orbit, we can just kind of enjoy it. I'm going to decouple this main booster right here, and just face prograde. And then you can just press F2 and enjoy the camera angle that it gives. And then you can deploy any kind of equipment you have aboard your rocket or just capsule that's floating in orbit. And you can pretty much sit there forever in Kerbal Space Program. Now in real life, you will slowly, your orbit will fade away slowly. But in Kerbal Space Program, it will stay there forever. So you can just kind of enjoy this. But at some point, you're going to want to come back down. All you'll do is just burn retrograde and then re-enter the atmosphere, hoping you have a heat shield. And also, just one more trick, if you would like to exit this so if like you see how we're targeted with the Mun, if you'd like to exit that, just below the escape button above the tab and right next to the 1, you press that button. It's got like a squiggly line and then some other random thing. You press that, and then you're focusing back on your craft. And that is pretty much the beginner's guide of how to get to orbit. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.